Let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. Keep in touch with me. Drop me a line any old time.
So Melanie, who do we have with us today?
Our guest today is Liliana Arrias Orrego. Did I say that correctly, Liliana?
Yes, you did it perfectly. But you can just call me Lili.
Okay, Lili. Lili is the academic coordinator of the Children and Youth Program at Colombo Americano, Medellin. That's binational English Language Center in Colombia. And she's a 20-year veteran of teaching and English language teaching. And I had the great pleasure of working with Lili and a number of her colleagues at various centers across Colombia in the summer of 2020, working all on online teaching and making that engaging. So I think we're going to have a great conversation, just kind of thinking about the impact that COVID-19 has had and that switch to online teaching has had on teaching and learning. So Lili, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm very happy to be sharing this time with you. It's a different thing. I was eager to do it, and I'm very happy, and I'm ready to talk.
Yay. Me too. So yes. Lili, I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this field.
Okay. How did I get so far? So, okay, since the beginning of the universe, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. All my life, I said that I was going to be a teacher. It was one of my dreams when I was a little girl. But then when I finished high school, I went to the US and I was a senior in a school in Indiana, in Connellton. I don't know if anyone over there can hear me, but I really, really like that town.
And I had a very, what town?
Connellton, Indiana. It's very, very far away from everything else. I think I was the only foreigner, Spanish person over there, but it was great.
I bet.
Yes, it was a great experience. And I practiced my English over there. And then when I came back, I said, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to use my English to do something else. Because my dad told me, why don't you learn English? Maybe in the future that will help you with something. That's what my dad said when I was 16 years old. So when I came back, I said, no, I'm not going to be a teacher because being a teacher is very hard and is not very appreciated. So I'm going to do something else. Yes, it is true. No, I know it is true. So I studied communication and I graduated as a communicator. But when I was finishing my career, I wanted to work. So they offered me a job teaching English to preschoolers because I really love kids and I had a good level of English. And at that moment, it wasn't such a big deal if you didn't have like a degree or you didn't have a huge background because they were little ones, they were preschoolers. Right. And everyone thinks that's very simple. So I said, let's do it. I like kids, I know English. How hard can it be? How hard can it be? That was very funny. So I started and I realized it was very hard. It was almost impossible if you didn't have a background on teaching and pedagogy and many things that the little ones require. I'm not saying that if you're teaching youth or if you're teaching adults, you don't need that. But what I do want to say, and it's one of my strongest beliefs is, if you teach preschoolers, you can teach anyone. Because preschoolers, because when you teach preschoolers, you have to have plan A, B, all the letters, and then A2 version A, like different plans, different activities, because they test you all the time.
And you can't, my dad loves to say, you will never win an argument with a 4-year-old.
No, and you can't fool them, and you don't fool them. I mean, it's not like they are not what you think they are. They are innocent and they don't know better. They do know better and they appreciate everything that you do. And they say, teacher, are you not prepared? Are you lost? I know. Or they say things like, no. My teacher Lili told us that you don't pronounce that word that way. I had one coworker that when I went to my maternity leave, she called me and she said, please give me lessons so I can teach your kids because they are driving me crazy. Nothing that I do or say it's correct because teacher Lili said it wasn't a different. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. But it's because they feel when you are feeling it. So making the long story short, I started to read documents and things about pedagogy and about preschoolers and about how to make that hour and a half bearable for them and for me, because I couldn't quit, because I told my boss I can do this, so I wasn't going to say I cannot do it because I'm not a quitter.
Right.
So
And it's interesting that you said that you thought teaching preschoolers was going to be simple, because actually it's so complicated, and that's such a crucial age in a child's development. Like I have a theory that the only reason people think it's simple is because usually moms are the ones left to do it. So how hard can it be? Actually, very.
But I'm going to tell you, Melanie, if one thing COVID left us. Okay, the other day on the radio, on the morning show that I always listen to, the hashtag was one good thing about COVID. And my husband said, there is nothing good about COVID. And I said, I disagree. One good thing is that personally, I got to spend real time with my husband and my kid. More my husband than my kid, because my kid and I have been together for 70 years. Lucky for me, not so lucky for him. But with my husband, you know how husband and wife life is. Okay, bye-bye, have a good day. Okay, hello, how was your day? That's it. And you go on vacation, but on vacation, you have a book, you have the ocean, you were sleeping late. It's different. One good thing was that. The other good thing is that I got my dream job back, remember? Not back.
Yes.
I got my dream job.
Yes.
That I wanted. And the other thing is that everyone or a lot of people realized teachers are very important. Seriously.
Yes.
Like when moms say or when dads say, oh, but the teacher could do better. That last year, they were like, teacher, you're great. Everything that you do, please take them for 5 hours, for 2 hours. And it's not easy. And I had one friend, she called me one day, I'm not kidding. She called me crying and she said, I will pay you if you come to my house and play with my kid. I will pay you because I'm a lawyer. I did not study for this. I cannot do this like for 1 hour, it's okay. But every day you have to cut, you have to paste, you have to draw, you have to learn, you have to. No, so that's one good thing. It's okay.
It's really hard. And I think you're right. I think a lot of parents, I have a lot of sympathy for parents who have their children at home. It's very, very difficult, particularly if both parents are working full time from home. That's really tough. So I kind of think we're naturally leaning towards this. I'm wondering how you have found the impact of COVID-19 and the move to technology on your work, on your students, on your classes, all of it.
Okay. I have to say that when this COVID-19 issue started, I was in a different job and I was doing different things than the ones that I do now. Mm-hmm. I was a virtual teacher for adults, for English for adults in a university that I was the academic coordinator for the language program, for the English program. So I kind of I kind of handled technology, but it was because I threw myself at that and because I took the risk of being a virtual teacher, which at the beginning for me was very difficult because 1, I'm very kinesthetic. 2, I'm a natural preschool teacher. So I could not picture at that time teaching through a screen. because I'm a preschool teacher. So
Right.
even when I teach adults, I don't get the puppets out. Of course not. But
I think you could, but that's
I
just
could,
me.
yes. But yeah, me too. But adults tend like, no, the puppets are too much. And I'm like, okay, no puppets. But I did the cutouts and I did the games and I did the running dictations and many things that people think that because they are adults, they cannot do them. Of course, adults need to have more fun than kids. Kids have fun on their own.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great
when we
way
are adults, we forget how to have fun.
Forget how to have fun. Plus,
yes.
I personally think when you're learning a language, you know, you can feel really intimidated, really scared
Definitely.
and nervous.
And
so there's something about getting the puppets out with adults that they start laughing and they relax a little bit and then they open to learning some more.
I remember one thing that I was going to say, and I'm going to link it to what you're saying. I always thought when I started like seriously being a preschool teacher, and when I decided I'm going to be a preschool teacher, like this is what I'm going to be, and I'm going to do it really good, and I'm going to study, and I'm going to be like really professional about it. I also decided that for me, it was a very big responsibility that the kids fall in love with the language. Because if I didn't do it right, then they were going to be traumatized, and then we were going to face teenagers and adults who were trying to learn a language, in this case, English, and they were going to say things like, I'm very bad, I cannot do it, I have been a bad learning since I was in school.
Oh my gosh, you're nailing it.
Yes, so that's what I thought. And I remember I used to tell all the parents of all my little ones, I used to tell them, I promise your kids are going to have fun and they are going to fall in love with English.
I love that. I want to be in your class.
I remember parents saying, I want to be a teacher. And I remember parents saying, Liliana, that's what happened to me. I'm afraid of teaching. I'm afraid of learning English. I'm afraid because it was difficult, because they made fun of me, because the teacher ridiculed me in front of everyone. Yeah. So I thought, and because everyone kept saying, no, you're not good for this. No, no, forget it. English for you. No, forget it. So that's one thing. And the second thing that I used to tell my adult students when I started teaching adults was, I want you to look at the English class as you look at for example, going to the gym, like when you put your clothes on, you're thinking, should I go or should I stay? Like the song. But then once you're there, you're like, okay, I'm going to give everything that I have because I feel good about myself. So I told them, if you're going to do it, let's have fun. And you might as well learn. So it's a win-win situation.
This is so great. And as you're talking, I'm thinking of a few things. One, I'm thinking about the perspective that you learn English as a second, or I don't know, is English your second language? Or
yeah,
third?
My second. Yeah.
So when you do that, so I think this is sometimes difficult for people for whom English is a first language to understand that there is a lot of pressure to learn English because of the advantages it opens up to you. And you said it because your dad said that.
It's the universal language of the world. And
Exactly. So one thing that kind of strikes me is that, I speak French and un poco de español, but just a little.
Muy bien, Melanie, muy bien.
Gracias. But when I learned those languages, I did it because I wanted to. I was interested in it. I liked it, but nobody made me. Nobody said, you have to do this or you're never going to get a job. And so these days I meet teachers occasionally who say things like, my student really seems to hate English. And some of them take it very personally. And I feel like, hey, you gotta let that go, because you forget they had to learn this language. And the other thing that you said that I think is so interesting is talking about those experiences that people have in the classroom when they're very young that can be really traumatic. I have a friend for whom French is their first language. They were the worst English student for 8 straight years. That person is probably one of the most proficient English speakers I know now. What is the difference? Well, when he was living in America, he met his wife who's American, and then he had a motivation, you know, like, but I mean, that's somebody who was perpetually last in the class. And that tells me so much about how the mindset does that. Now they have a child, and my friend was telling me that her son, who she spoke English to his entire life, and I know understands English, was also doing poorly in his class. And I said, well, you know what? He doesn't want to be the weird kid who magically speaks this. You can't put too much pressure on him. You're just going to have him not want to do it. There's so much about your identity and your view of yourself that is wrapped up in learning in general.
Of course.
It always comes out in language learning, I think.
I'm going to tell you what happened to me with my kid. I started speaking English to my kid when I found out that I was pregnant. That's how crazy I am. When I found out that I was pregnant, I said, he's going to be bilingual before everything else because he's going to have, you know, an English teacher mom. How cool. Okay, the first thing is that's not cool at all. Okay, having a mom who speaks English and she's a teacher is not cool. Okay, right. I found out that. Okay. The second thing is that I labeled my house, ventana, window, puerta, door, fridge, nevera, everything. So he was not only going to speak two languages, he was going to learn how to read and write in two languages. All because I'm the greatest mom and teacher ever. Second thing that I found out that I wasn't such a great mom or teacher because when he was 2 years old and he could put all the words together, he said to me in Spanish, "Who are you and why do you talk to me like you're my teacher?" And I said, "But I'm your mom." And he goes like, "So please stop talking to me like a teacher and talk to me like my mom."
How funny.
And I was like, okay. And he was 2 years old. Okay, so I got the message and I started speaking in English, in Spanish and lower my English. And then when he was like 6, he was doing very poorly, not only in English, but also in Spanish, both languages. He didn't want to learn how to read or write. And when I asked him, he was like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of the languages. And I was like, okay, whose fault is that? Very good, Liliana. So when I stopped all of that, he started to read and write in Spanish. And then like when he was 8 or 9 years old, we went to the States when he was 7, we took him to the States and he wanted to play in a playground with kids. And he came and he said, "Mom, how do I say in English, can I play? I mean, ¿puedo jugar?" And I said, "Oh, this is your chance, Liliana. This is your chance." And I was like, "Sure. You can say,
teachable moment.
Yes, can I play with you?" And he goes like, "Okay, Mom, thank you." And he went and then he came back. "Mom, how can I ask if it can be my turn?" And I said, and then when we got back to the hotel, he said, "Mom, starting this moment, I want you to tell me everything in English because I want to ask for my food. I want to play with kids." And I was like, okay, Liliana, lesson number 3 for your kid and for students and for life. Motivation, or not even because you have motivation like something that makes you happy, but you have, remember, Melanie, when we used to say, make it meaningful. Okay.
Yes.
So going back to virtual, you can have the best tools, the best Zoom account, the coolest computer, but if you don't make it meaningful for your students and they don't see that you're having fun with the class, even though it's virtual, you're not going to do anything. I mean,
100%
nothing
agree.
is going to happen with your kids or with adults no, it's not going to happen. That's why for parents, it has been so tough because they have to learn to help the kids learn. So it's, like when they have, I think when parents get the grasp of what the kids are learning, it became easier for everyone in the house to adapt to this online learning and teaching and online living.
How, I mean, because when I spoke to you, when we were working on our course together, it was a lot about trying to make things engaging, trying to make things effective online, and things that came up. One thing, and you just reminded me of it because you mentioned parents, was getting parents on board, getting them to understand what was happening online and all of that. So I'm wondering what the experience has been like for you guys.
Do you remember, Melanie, that when you came, I was new at my job?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And I was very concerned about parents because I had the experience with a teenager doing his senior year. It's totally different. For me, it was, like the experience of struggling with a teenager who didn't want to bathe, who thought taking lessons without getting a shower was okay. But that was the hardest part for me. But my work and my job was done pretty much. But when you have a preschooler, like you have to, help that little one cut, or when you have a 7-9-year-old, that still depends a lot on the teacher. That was very hard for parents. So remember, that was my concern. Yeah. And remember, and what I did? It was like, I said, okay, this is like parents became also students,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Teachers became students, parents became students, and the students were students. So we had 3 types of students. So with the teachers, okay, let's help them, let's give them tools, and let's remind them that they can make it simple, because when you get too complicated, everything gets complicated. The second thing with parents, what I did was like, okay, I'm going to teach them. I'm going to show them, okay, this is what we do. This is what the teacher is doing. This is how you enter the platform. Do you have any question? This is my email. You can write to me. Liliana, I'm sorry to bother. No, you are not, you're not bothering. I have 50 emails, but it's okay. You're not bothering. I'm going to help you. So I think that when you put, it's a golden rule. You just have to put on the other person's shoes. So if you're thinking about parents, they don't understand. They've
never done this.
No, they are parents, not teachers. Yeah. Because that combination goes wrong. When you're the teacher of your son, that doesn't work. Nobody wants to do that. So one of the things that I did, Melanie, was that I started a lot of communication channels. I created a bulletin. I kept them informed, like, okay, this is what's going on. This is my picture. I put a face to the coordinator's office. This is Lili. I'm the coordinator. Look at my face. I'm always smiling. I'm never stressed, never. So parents were like, oh, okay, I have a face. Then, okay, this is what we're doing. That's the third thing. Okay, I'm going to give you chances to meet with us. So I have this hour, but you can't. Okay, so I have this and this other hour. I was trying to think, okay, let's make this easy for everyone, because I don't want parents being angry, complaining, okay? And the other thing that I did was I told teachers, I know it's more work for you, but at the end, it will be less work if you keep parents informed. It's easy. If you post the information, I'm going to finish this idea. If you post the information, if you post it, it's there. Yeah. You share the information and then you post it and it's simple. Okay, maybe you have 2 parents who didn't read it, but if you tell them, go there, it's there, it was there, even if they get upset, they are going to be less upset.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's
what I was going to say is that that's such a great point that you made about ensuring that you had information and that you were sharing information. I can't remember, there was some very successful CEO who would always send like a weekly update to her team, even if she didn't even have any news. it was still, her team was hearing from her, and it really bonded the team well. And it's true, absence of information makes us start thinking a lot, and maybe
definitely. And the other thing is the absence of information, or a lot. I mean, like, because when I got this position, everyone told me, okay, Liliana, it's the beginning of the semester and of the bimester, and you have to send a bulletin, and the bulletin has to contain, and I was like, whoa. We are getting everything online. We don't have the time to read everything that we're getting. Plus, we are mothers, and we're wives, and we're employees, and maybe bosses, and we're also daughters, and we're also teachers of our friends. And so I'm not reading all of these emails. So I said, I'm going to do it as we do with the students, by chunks. So, okay, this is the information for the beginning. Here you go. So 1 month after that, okay, so we're in September. This is the information for September. There you go. It was a great idea. It was the worst idea for me because I had to do one of those, but it was great because what you say, the lack of information, or sending them a bulletin of 5 pages, both sides. No, I'm just.
So you're right. I mean, and there is such a thing as information overload. But this idea of keeping clear communication channels, it's so beneficial for so many reasons. First of all, I mean, if we look back on this past year, I think one word I would use to describe it is volatile. Like, there have just been changes all the time. Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. When there is uncertainty, one of the things that really helps people is communication. Even if, as you said, Amy, there's really nothing new to report. It just says, look, we're out there, we're paying attention. We will let you know when there's new information. It also provides a sense of stability. Because if I don't know what's going on with my class, well, hey, great. I always know where to go to find information on this. It's really useful. And then the final thing is, I think because we are all online, or many of us have been online, recreating that feeling of connection, the feeling of connection with your students, with their parents, that is actually really important for a lot of reasons. It helps the students learn better. And honestly, if you can have the parents on your side, things are going to be so much easier. So you need to communicate with them so that they feel like they know what's going on. If they don't, they're going to feel less secure, and they're going to start filling in those gaps with the information.
The other thing, Melanie, is if they feel like they don't have the information, they are going to be mad at you. And if anything happens, even if it is not your responsibility, because you left that little tiny crack, that's where they are going to stick, and they're going to go through there, and they're going to say, it is your fault. You're the teacher. You didn't say, you didn't post it. And the other thing is, I learned this in the other course that I took, and I thought was one of the greatest things. And it was like, remember that information, you say it, and then you post it.
Yes.
And because there are people who pay attention and they get it at the first time. And they are people like Lili, whose mind is like a newborn kitty. So I'm like, oh, but I'm paying attention, but my mind is just, like this. So then I have to read. And if you have parents with, okay, this is what we're doing, or this is what we did, it's here.
Yeah.
And then you said, this is homework, and I don't remember, but I know where to go and check, or the kids, because they are also, I think one of the huge, like the biggest challenges of this COVID-19 for parents, and I am one of those, is realizing that your kid is more autonomous than you thought, okay?
Interesting.
Even if they are little ones, because the stress was on us, parents, not them.
Right.
Because teachers, like, no, I know he can do it on his own. Yes, he can, because that's what he does in school, and you're not there, and he does it. But because you're there and he's there, And kids take advantage of moms and dads.
Yes.
I can do it, mommy. So mommy stops the meeting and starts cutting because we want them to be perfect. So he can show it online how perfect it was. No, just leave it just let it be. Just let it.
I guess I'm glad I come from a big family and my mother was way too busy to do that stuff.
No. I come from a small family. I come from a small family, and also I only have one child. So I just wanted everything to be perfect. And I learned, I learned that, and I also realized it with kids. And when I saw them at the end of the year showing their projects and showing through, I think parents were amazed at how they did it. I saw 5 years old. Good morning, teacher. This is my project. My mom, my dad, and I saw the mom behind going like this, clapping and very excited. And I was like,
pretty cool.
Yes, it was pretty cool. And the teachers did a great job because for the teachers was one day, okay, leave the classroom, go home, open your computer, go through Zoom and start teaching. And that was it.
Yeah. It was pretty abrupt. How are people doing now, would you say?
Well, I think the challenge now, and I said it when we were taking the course with you, Melanie, the challenge is not to go back as we were doing things before, because we came a long way, because we gained a lot of things, because we learned a lot, parents, students, teachers, administration. And I think we cannot, okay, COVID is over, let's go back to the same thing. No. Okay, COVID is over, one day it's going to be that. Now it's like, we don't know if it's worse, if it's good, if the vaccine is coming, if it's going, we don't know anything. But this is a new year. So if we're going to go face to face, but we're going to also be online, how are we going to combine that? Okay, because we cannot go back. When we walk, we cannot come back. No, because we gain a lot, because what we're doing now with teachers, because tomorrow we have our first training of the year. And I have 3 more weeks before the little ones start. And the biggest challenge is that, okay, teacher, even if we go back to the site, even if you go back face to face, first of all, there are some things. You cannot pass around the ball anymore or pass the puppets.
No. Right, all the restrictions.
No. Yes, that's one thing. The other thing is, what are you going to do face to face, and how are you going to support it online? Okay, because we cannot waste everything that we learn, because it was too much.
I totally agree, and I have said it. I feel like, you can't unring the bell.
No.
But I also think there's going to be a lot of pressure to go back to the way things were, because first of all, that's what most people know and recognize as school. Actually, I think that's the biggest reason. But I think another big reason is precisely what you just said. We did it very quickly. So when I hear complaints about the effectiveness in online teaching, of course, I agree. For many people and for many situations, it is better to be in a face-to-face classroom. At the same time, I also believe that you can have outstanding, excellent lessons that are better than face-to-face lessons. It depends on the person, but it also depends a lot on the training that you get. And quite a few teachers have not really received a lot of training on it. They've just been said, okay, we're using Teams, we're using Zoom, we're using Schoology, and you're going to be online tomorrow or Monday. And certainly here in the United States, I don't know about Colombia, but I suspect you're having very similar conversations. There's been a lot of push to have kids back in school, because it is better for the parents, and certainly for young kids, they need that social interaction. But what I think the cost of some of that is rushing this and not thinking, hey, what can we keep from this? How can we incorporate both in this scenario?
That's what I think. Yes, one of the things that we were talking earlier today was that, for example, the support that we provide our students, like the tutoring or the conversation clubs, you can do that online. You can offer that online because it gives you definitely one of the good and positive aspects of online learning. One is that you can do it at some times that you cannot do it face to face because of time, because of commuting, right? Because we had moms and dads who didn't have the time to take the kid or things like that. Now we can incorporate that to the face-to-face part.
Right.
So I mean,
right.
The kids and the teachers did the hard part. Now, if they go to the site, I mean, this is me dreaming. If they go to the site, they take the class, they are there for 1 hour and a half, then they go home. But if they have a difficulty, hey, teacher, can we meet? Okay, yeah, Wednesday at 3, you're going to connect and I am going to give you that support. So we have the best thing of both. That's one thing. That's one good thing. The other thing is definitely that for some students that lived very far, they can now use it and they can now connect and they can, okay. And
that's huge.
The other thing that I thought was one of the best and was one of the ones that I supported the most, and I started doing that when I was a virtual teacher for my adults, is that I told them, I am going to record the classes and I am going to upload them. And if you can come to my class, I'm not going to erase the absence. You're still absent in my class. You're going to have the, like the act.
Right.
But yes, and I told them, and you're going to miss the fun, the live fun.
You'll miss all the fun. Yeah.
Miss the fun. It's not the same laughing alone.
Exactly.
But I told them, but you're going to have the recording. And if you're in my class, but you're paying attention to me and you're taking notes, so maybe you missed something, but then you will have your notes and you will have my explanation and what you understood, plus you're going to have all the videos, which is like another type of,
and you can watch them as many times as you need to.
And I did it when I was a virtual teacher for adults. I did it as a teacher. And when I saw that it was good and it was working, I implemented it for all of the teachers at the university. And then when I came to this new job with the little ones, at the beginning, parents were like, I know, so it's going to miss the class, oh my God. But then the teacher was like, no, don't worry. If you have a situation, you can watch it later or you can watch this part. So I think that's also good, Melanie, because not everyone understands at the same time and at the same pace.
Exactly. And honestly, the ability to go back and watch videos as often as you like at your own pace, that's one of the principles of flipped classroom.
Of course, I was going to talk about that as well, because if we start thinking about the flipped classroom, not like this, oh my God, this is another thing for me to do. No, but like the fun thing. Like, okay, if I'm going to watch a video and I have this student who struggles with listening, the student can watch the video 5 times and take notes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you come to the class, the student is going to be like, oh, okay, I understood. Okay. At the level of the rest. So I think it's good.
The truth is, that's how we learn a lot of stuff anyway. Like if you want to teach yourself, like you teach yourself or you get some help and then you figure out how to do most things, like maybe your parents teach you how to tie your shoes. Well, how do you do that? They show you, then you practice, then you do it. Maybe it takes me 20 tries. Maybe you get it in 5, but we get it. Does it matter? Not really, because I can do it,
You can do it.
And in some ways that's better because now I'm not watching you and thinking, oh, well, she got it in 5. I needed 20 times. What's wrong with me? Nothing. So what we're getting towards the end of our conversation, and I just want to ask you, what do you have any predictions, any final thoughts you'd like to share for the future of teaching?
For the future, I think that we realize that our students, our kids, our teenagers or adults, they can give us more than what they give if we let them. If we give if we give them the opportunity to do it, they can give us much more if we give them the time. Because of what you said, everyone has a different pace.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's okay. The other thing is that I think it's going to be difficult because we're going to be struggling with the fear of going back.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Because actually,
you're right.
Yes, it's the fear of going back, but we're also anxious to do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to need to meet in the middle. It's going to be 2020, but not the lockdown and the virtual part, but 2021, okay, go back outside again and do the face-to-face part, but without wasting or putting in a drawer the virtual part that it's so good for meeting.
We need to keep that. I agree, 100%.
Melanie,
we will.
We need to keep it for this type of thing. I mean, like for example, TESOL. I went to TESOL 3 years ago when it was in Chicago and it was face-to-face. And I just ran for a week. I ran up and down the convention center like a crazy person. And that's what I did. I mean, like, I don't know how much I learned, but I ran like a crazy person. And so last year we thought like, TESOL is canceled. No, they did it. They did it online.
Exactly.
So many people who couldn't connect, they connected, right? So I think that for the future, if we embrace the fact that our students can do it, if we give them time, that our teachers can do it if we give them time and training, okay? And everyone can do it if you taught me this, Melanie, if we are flexible. Remember with those teachers who didn't connect for every session, and you were the one who said, no, but wait a minute, we didn't say that from the beginning. It's not fair. We're going to be flexible. This is how it's going to work. And everyone was happy. I mean, like, it's not that you're going to lower responsibility, no. Or commitment, no. But you can be flexible, because if COVID taught us something is you need to be flexible, because I'm here and I'm staying and I'm going to turn your world upside down.
I love that. I'm going to close our little conversation out. And I just want to say thanks so much for joining us today and talking to us. And thank you, audience at large, for listening. Please make sure to tune in for more episodes of Talk to Us at Bounce English.
Thank you, Liliana. Thank you.
Lily, it was so great. We will keep in touch, I promise.
Melanie, bye. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Your big old crutch. Come on, baby. Let's keep in touch. Come on, baby. Let's keep in touch.